Hi, good afternoon. I am Noy Casada, one of the founders of the makers of your giveaways, the Balangay's Best. It is an honor to be here in the first Integrated Risk Management and Sustainability Summit of Ayala Group and to be in front sharing our story to hundreds of executives and senior leaders of the group. Um, I have to learn this. So we are the Fishers and Change Makers. The Fishers and Change Makers was founded in October 2014, composed of these three fishers from Bantayan and three full-time workers of Gawad Kalinga. And we are here to share the love story between the social development professionals and the fishers of Bantayan, Cebu. And coming together, partnering with the fishers, we aim to work in building sustainable fishing communities, one catch at a time. The love story between the social development workers and the fishers of Bantayan, Cebu started after the Typhoon Yolanda. Bantayan, Cebu was one of the greatly hit during that time, and by far, that was the strongest typhoon in the history in the country. And after that, actually the chief executive officer of Fishers and Changemakers, Jet Ong, she's around taking pictures, went to Bantayan, assigned by the executive director of Gawad Kalinga to lead the distribution of boats to fishing communities in Bantayan, Cebu, because they did not only lose the roofs of their houses or their houses totally, but they lost also the source of their livelihood. And so the program called Balangay program of Gawad Kalinga was introduced and headed by the founder of Fishers and Changemakers, Jet Ong. And exposing ourselves to the coastal communities hit by Bantayan, we saw the vastness of the marine resources of the Philippines, and that most of the communities were really greatly hit and affected by Typhoon Yolanda. And we were faced with the problem of how are we going to help our brothers in the small fishing communities of the communities and municipalities hit by Yolanda. That considering we know that Philippines is composed of more than 7,000 islands, and we learned that 821 are coastal communities, and these coastal communities depend on the marine resources for the livelihood of their families. We see that fishing is essential to livelihood of most of the Filipino families. 99% of Filipino fishers are local or municipal fishers, and they land 49% of the total catch for the Philippines. But there are 1.3 million municipal fishers versus the 16,500 commercial fishers. And they are fishing from the same ocean and source of marine resources of the Philippines. And this we see that the challenge of how can the small fishing communities compete or even live with big fishing commercial fishers to at least feed their families. And so with that and with the growing population, together with the declining supply of our supply from our marine resources, it may result to 55% decrease in protein availability by 2030 compared to the 2000 figures we have when fish supply peak. It is said that in the future, if we continue fishing the way we are fishing, if we continue overfishing because that's the only source and way that our small fishing communities know how to feed their family, by 2050, mid of 20 of this century, we will be really faced in the challenge of fishing nothing from our ocean. And so this is the problem, and we thought of really continue the love story with the fishers of small fishing communities in the Philippines to offer a solution to this challenge that we were faced. And so we came up with this. Produce Balangay's best. It's worth dying for. Our vision is, with the fishing communities and with the help of the kind-hearted, big-hearted development workers, we want to be promoting Balangay's Best as a global Filipino brand of high quality, naturally processed, and responsibly caught seafood products made by artisan Filipino fishers. So, in the moment, aside from the fishing communities in Bantayan, Cebu, we are also we continued our love story, the fishing communities in other communities like Cortez in Surigao del Sur, Cantillan, Bindoy and Ayungon in Negros Oriental, and Look and Lubang in Occidental Mindoro. And to continue the love story between the social development workers, the full-time workers of Gawad Kalinga, and the fishers from small fishing communities, I will call now the Chief Marketing Officer of Fishers and Changemakers to continue the story.
Hi everybody, good afternoon. So I wanted to share to you with how we find fish. As we always say, forever is always a problem, but what we're trying to aim in what we do in Balangay's Best is to have fish forever, not only for us, but for the next generations. So apparently, we are so fortunate to have multi-sectoral partnerships from government, and honestly, one of the biggest reason why we are thankful with Ayala and BPI, because we won last 2016. We are one of the BPI Sinag awardee, which grant us 500,000 to expand to 6 more towns. Because it's always a dream to replicate this to more fishing communities, and it happened because of BPI. So we realized, based on the first 2 years of what we do, that we have to include the environmental impact in our social enterprise, because it's very, based on our immersion. For example, I experienced joining some of our fishers to do fishing, and I remember we did fishing for around 4 to 6 hours, and I was really sad that time because we are with 2 fisher boats. And for the 4 to 6 hours, we were only able to catch 7 pieces of squid. And how sad it is that is the reality right now, because most of our seas are being exploited already because of the population and the demand for livelihood and food security in our country, because seafood is the second staple food in our country and the cheapest source of protein. So there, the entire picture of what we are doing were completed because we thought that there's something missing in what we are doing in the past few years. So we are fortunate when we met Rare Philippines. So they do conservation enterprise using behavior change. So we started diving and learning more of the scientific side of the fishing or marine industry in our country. So there, we are the first one who were able to come up with the 4 standards for sustainable fishing. So we take the biggest risk last year when we implemented this to the 6 towns where we expanded. So for them to be able to supply seafood products to us, they need to comply to this 4 standard. First, the seafood that they're supplying to us should be caught in the right place with the right gear. The fish is caught at the right size and right time. So we follow seasonality, which is the biggest challenge in the consumers because we had to educate everybody with what they're eating. Not just eating unlimited seafood, but learning how their seafoods are being caught or how the production process really, how tedious it is to produce these delicious seafoods that we are eating comfortably in our table. Next, one of the biggest challenges as well is to register and to license the fisher folk because even though it's only 2,000 pesos per fisher folk, they can afford to do that because they have limited income and most of them are managed by middlemen, which are controlling the price of the catch that they're getting. And mostly the catch that they're getting in the sea are only payment for the escalating debts that they acquired from this middleman. The last one is the fishers are empowered to also to co-manage the sea in their area. So they are part of the technical working group. They collaborate with different sectors in the municipality to draft different policies, rules, and regulation, and they watch each other to be able to implement the sustainable fishing measures in the communities. Next. The next one is, sorry, could you, can we go the slides? It's not working. So there, one of the things that we learned as well, because we're doubling the income of every fisher that we're working, we realized the value of savings. So we created, we started exploring setting up different savings club in the fishing communities that we are working. So the income that they're getting from us would be allocated properly to the different basic needs that they needed for their family and for themselves. The next one is we teach them proper ways of manufacturing the seafood products that they're supplying to us. Here you see they're now using proper clothing, they put ice already before they don't realize the value of putting ice in the seafood that they're catching. So they don't, because most of the fishing communities in the Philippines doesn't have access with ice plant and electricity. So when we established this, it improved the quality of the products they're supplying in the market. The next one is, of course, we upgraded we upgraded the equipment and technology that they're using to process this product. So we created hybrid solar dryers. So they're using it already instead of just drying these products every part of the community that they're staying. So it's more hygienic. And we moved deeper because we saw that drying seafood or selling it fresh, it's not enough. We have to do value-adding process. So we work with volunteer chef. They created recipes with us. So last year, we joined Madrid Fusion in Manila, and we're the only one who joined it. It's one of the prestigious global culinary event in the world. So we were able to come up with classic Papa Puset adobo flakes, the one was in the bread, and we were able to create danggit trail mix with dried mangoes and nuts. So it's sort of a snack. We haven't launched it in the market, but soon. Maybe if you would help us, we'll be able to launch it faster. Next. So with that, we are fortunate to find support with British Council. So because this is the biggest need that we had to also discuss with the consumers and the business owners who's helping us distribute the products, we have to educate them properly. So we launched this campaign last year. It's called Linked by the Sea. fishers, buyers, and diners working together for more sustainable seafood. So we have 3 parts. We discuss more about the fishery and the marine resources. We discuss more about how you could be how can you start eating responsibly, and the next one is how they could contribute in other means. If they're allergic to seafood, that's the last part. So that's why we put that. So it's very inclusive for everybody. So with that, we run a lot of, because we are also a social enterprise, so we run a lot of campaigns through social media, and we capacitate all the every single resources that we see all around us. So we launched this campaign. It's called Breakfast of Champions. We started challenging everybody how they would see dried seafood in a different way, not just frying it. So apparently, this beautiful picture that you're seeing in the screen right now, we were tagged by this private chef in New York, just in New York. So our products reached there, and and I was surprised with that. And because I wasn't able to recognize the photo, even our product, because it's so beautifully curated. And when I spoke with the chef, she was telling me she's been following us for the longest of time. And because she can't wait to taste the products already, she asked one of her friends going to US to look for our product and bring it there in the US so she could try it. So there. And now she's now exploring how to do partnership with us. The next one is we had a partnership with Purple Yam, New York. It's one of the famous Filipino restaurant, wherein they were able to brought our product in the DFA culinary tour last year. So the products that we have was showcased in 7 cities in North America, which created more demand. But unfortunately, right now, we're still working on the supply because we're practicing sustainable fishing. So we're thinking and doing it strategically on how to balance these 2 things. The next one is, of course, we facilitate multi-sectoral synergies. So we are also part of the Sustainable Seafood Group in the Philippines, wherein we actively advocate sustainable fishing consumption. So we partner with, of course, the former DA Secretary. We work with the national government. The founder of Gawad Kilinga, Tito Tony, who inspired us to venture into social business. And of course, Rare Philippines and the other team of Sustainable Seafood Group in the Philippines. Moreover, it also brought us to joining policy dialogues to the national government to tell them and be the voice of the small fishing communities in terms of their need. Because the biggest problem in the Philippines, it's not because no one is helping the fishing industry, but different people is addressing just 1 part or 2 parts of the value chain in the fishing industry. That's why in Balangay, we wanted it to be a holistic. From sea to plate, we'll be able to see the entire process. So it's more sustainable, merging everybody's effort, so the impact would be greater. And every resources would be utilized properly. Next one, that's the time we were also recognized as one of the 80 inclusive businesses in the Philippines in the Go Negosyo book. And Unilever recognized us as one of the innovative brands in the Philippines. So there recently, because we need more money to help more fishing communities and to really escalate what we are doing to bring more innovations, more impact in what we are doing, we join competitions. That's always the strategy. You have to join competitions so we could get more resources and more support. So we went to Brazil last March. We're one of the top 6 who went to Brazil competing, and we were scared because a lot of the third world countries were there, like South Africa and different countries. But we are proud because it's the first time that the Philippines and Asia reached the finals for this prestigious competition for social enterprises. And actually, we brought home the grand prize. So we're one of the grand winner, where Uh, I hope there's no media. We won 8 million and BAR won't tax us. So we brought home 8 million, so we'll be able to expand more to more fishing communities. But of course, it's not enough. As you've seen in the slide, it's 900 something coastal municipalities, and there's still more to be done in our country. And we need everybody's help to this. So there. With that, the target right now, that's why we're inviting you to join us in this journey, is to create impact for 7 fisher families and 35,000 individuals, forming 225 savings club. Why savings club? Because for them to be part of the conservation enterprise or part of the supplier or processor of Balangay's best product, they have to learn how to save first. And a portion of their savings would be allocated for them to buy shares to be part of the conservation enterprise. Because we always believe with counterparting. It shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be dole out most of the time. So there, then reducing illegal and overfishing activities in 64 coastal provinces by the year 2022. So there, it's never gonna be easy, but we got very inspired with our Pusit, our Papa Pusit say, it's always to stay positive at all of this time. So before we end, I wanted to, of course, I wanted to call on James, one of our co-founder and Julie Fisher, entrepreneur who also owns our company, to share with you his transformation from being a fisher to fisher entrepreneur.
Hello po, magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. Kunti na lang daw yung, 1 minute na lang pala eh. Gutom na ba kayo? Ako gutom na din eh. Ako nga pala si Jindo Mata, taga Cebu po ako. Tapos yung province po namin is Bantayan Island talaga. Sino po dito nakapunta ng Bantayan Island? Wow, ang dami. Mas madaming danggit doon, di ba? Kaya isa din akong nanguhuli ng danggit eh. 12 years old na po akong nag-umpisa ng mangingisda hanggang nakaabot ako ng 30 years old hanggang ngayon. So, yung pagpangingisda do sa amin, masaya naman at mahirap na mangingisda. Meron din kaming amo noon na bumibili ng huli namin pero kinuha nila ng mura lang presyo eh. So, kaya wala kaming nagagawa noon. So dapat ibibinte lang namin para meron kaming income halos araw-araw para pambili lang ng pagkain. Wala na talagang oras. Nung bagyong Yolanda po, matagal na po yun, di ba? Halos po lahat ng bahay namin doon at saka mga bangkang sinasakyan namin, halos po sira. So, nagpapasalamat din po kami na mayroong pumasok ng mga NGOs doon na nagbibigay ng mga materialis ng bangka at saka bahay para mapatayo ulit yung bahay namin at saka yung mga bangka. May isa ditong pumapasok yung Balangay base, yung silang nagsisimula. Yung mga huli ng mga mangingisda doon, binibili nila ng mas malaking presyo para daw makatulong din sa pamilya. Sorry. Dahil po sa Balangay base, natutunan ko na hindi lang pala ako magaling mangingisda, kundi pwede din pala akong maging magaling entrepreneur, katulad po ninyo dito. Iin ko na lang to kasi gutom dito. Ito po ang huling kwento ko po sa inyo kasi maikli lang. Dahil po sa Balangay base, meron ako isang nakilalang babae na siya po ay isang CEO na katulad ng tinatawag ng kasama ko ni Miss Noy, siya po si Jitong. nagiging asawa ko ngayon. Saan ka ba? Nagpipicture siya ngayon eh. Maraming salamat pala po sa Ayala sa pagkakataon na makwento ko yung karanasan naming bilang isang mangingisda kahit maikli lang po. Salamat po sa inyo lahat.